Welcome to the Canadian Business Quarterly podcast, where we speak with Canada's most influential industry leaders on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all of our content, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.
In 2001, Guy Payette had a vision of changing the specialty pharmaceutical marketplace, and he created Innomar. The result of his commitment to helping patients navigate the Canadian healthcare system was the first integrated model for specialty pharmaceutical manufacturers. Today, Guy is the president of Innomar Strategies, Health Forward, and Cameron Stewart Life Science, all part of AmerisourceBergen. In his role, he leads a team of more than 2,200 associates who are focused on delivering customized commercialization solutions to pharmaceutical, biotech, and medical device manufacturers. With 30 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry, Guy's insight on emerging issues in the Canadian healthcare environment provide guidance for policymakers and other industry stakeholders. Throughout his career, Guy has been a champion for improved access to medication for Canadian patients. Guy, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Jesse, and thank you for having me.
More than welcome. Can you share the background and story of your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So Innomar was founded in 2001. It was founded, interestingly enough, around my kitchen table, which, of course, with the pandemic today, I find myself working often around the kitchen table these days. With three individuals, and really we basically huddled around that kitchen table and pondered, and had a theory around all the emergence of specialty medications entering the pharmaceutical marketplace and the pipeline of pharmaceutical companies. And when you looked at both the supply chain, you looked at the access, the navigation of how patients were getting reimbursement, it was very fragmented, and there was really very little support to help patients gain access to these very complex medications. So we thought there had to be a better way. And that's how Innomar was born, and really it's right at the core of our name. Innomar means innovative market access. So we thought we would create a company that would help to expand patient access to these complex and innovative therapies and make these products more accessible to patients. So based on the conversations then with manufacturers, it was clear there was a demand for more of an integrated model. So meaning that you can combine third-party logistics with market access consulting, regulatory services, with patient support services, specialty distribution, infusion services, and network pharmacies. And really what this combination delivered was addressing gaps in the Canadian healthcare systems where the system wasn't supporting patients or there wasn't reimbursement for patients. And really manufacturers stepped up to fill that gap with a service provider. And we thought, we could integrate that all into a really seamless kind of end-to-end solution for the patient and also for the provider.
Can we dip into this a little bit further? Do you want to explain, really what Innomar specializes in?
Yeah, what makes Innomar so unique and such a strong partner to the pharmaceutical companies is that our collective experience and the wide range of services we offer to support manufacturers, healthcare providers, and patients. It really, again, is taking all those services and making it seem seamless to the provider and to the patient, and having that patient-centric model that provides value to the pharmaceutical manufacturers at each stage of the product journey, and leads to better experiences for the patient.
Okay, so let's talk about Innomar's evolution over the last 20 years, adding new services and solutions to meet the needs of patients, healthcare providers, and manufacturers.
Yeah, since we first launched Innomar, we remain committed to building an integrated model that supports that evolving need of manufacturers, healthcare providers, and patients. To fully realize our goal and maximize our impact, we sought to reach resources of a larger company. And in addition to its robust distribution services and capabilities, AmerisourceBergen shared our vision, our commitment to creating healthier futures. So since that acquisition that took place in 2009, we've continued to expand our commercialization services offerings and our footprint, including the development of a GMP compliant facility in Milton, Ontario, which is really a model and a feature really for cold chain distribution in the Canadian landscape. And we'll get that a little later and talk about COVID-19 distribution. But the investments that we made in our distribution capabilities, and particularly around these delicate and specialty products, and so that we were able to store and handle all pharmaceutical products, including these very complex and specialty products. Over a 3-year span from basically 2016 to 2018-19, we made strategic acquisitions to build our commercialization services. We added Cameron Stewart Life Sciences, which is a digital specialty company that specialized in digitizing copay and different services for the pharmaceutical industry, and better connecting the pharmacies and patient support programs and providers. Wide Health Consulting, which is a market access company, and our most recent acquisition was TPI Reg, which is a full service regulatory company that helps manufacturers submit their product files, their new drug submissions to Health Canada for approval in the Canadian landscape. And more recently, we've been focused on expanding our suite of digital solutions to support healthcare providers, patients, payers, and manufacturers. We've made a series of strategic investments and innovation. We've added capabilities that enable us to increase patient engagement, expedite speed to therapy, create efficiencies for payers, and eliminate barriers along the patient journey. And we made a small but strategic acquisition of a patient app called Chronically Simple in FY 2019, and launched Divinity Health the following year.
Fair enough. Quite a lot going on there. And I mean, on top of that, in December of last year, in 2020, the government of Canada announced Innomar would support COVID-19 vaccination distribution efforts. What's the company's role in all of this?
Yeah, that was quite a historic moment when you think about it was just as we were, turning 20 as a company, and we had made a number of strategic investments. And of course, right in the middle of the pandemic, the government issued an RFP for the distribution of all COVID-19 vaccines for Canada. And we partnered with FedEx Express Canada to provide a end-to-end solution, meaning, obviously the importation, the storage, and then the distribution to all parts of Canada. And we were awarded the contract on December 4th. Which was very exciting, but then the next day was we had to get to work as the first shipments were due to arrive. We knew probably just before December 25th, and in fact, the first shipment was received on December 24th. So it was quite the Christmas present for all Canadians for Moderna, and we turned those shipments around within 24 to 48 hours. And our role is really in importing, acting as importer of record for these vaccines, and getting them into our warehouse, storing them at the appropriate temperature. And as you've all seen throughout various media reports, most of these vaccines all require different temperatures. And so we're equipped to handle all the different temperature requirements, and of course require different packaging solutions when we send them out so that they maintain their integrity. And our packaging solutions are so specialized that they maintain maintain the required temperature, let's say, for example, with Moderna at -20 for up to 5 days from when it leaves the doors of our distribution center. And then we, with FedEx, then we're able to send these vaccines to all parts of Canada. And all the while we're monitoring them. So they had live GPS trackers that allowed us full visibility to see where the shipments were in transit and at what temperature, so to ensure that when they reached their final destination, that they were safe and ready to be administered at the administration sites.
So, in addition then to the vaccine distribution efforts, you operate an integrated healthcare service network across Canada. How did Innomar teams adapt amid the pandemic to ensure patients would continue to receive the care that they needed?
Yeah, well, the COVID-19 outbreak, obviously created many challenges across the healthcare landscape and forced healthcare providers worldwide to adapt to ensure patients continue to receive care they needed. Innomar operates over 150 clinics in Canada. We have 11 pharmacies to serve as critical access points for people in the communities across our country. Many patients who go to our clinics require treatment or services that can't be delayed. I mean, these are, in a lot of cases, rare orphan diseases. They cannot miss their therapeutic window, which means that every month they do require their medications, or otherwise they will become very sick. So we had to pivot very quickly to go to an remote environment from a call center perspective and support perspective. But of course, our frontline workers remained on the front lines. We developed very stringent protocols to make sure that our employees and our nurses were, fully protected, and that we secured enough PPE. And that was a real challenge at the beginning. And I think for all of healthcare, and then of course to protect the patients at the same time. And I think our most proud statistic is that not a single patient missed an appointment during the entire pandemic, and we protected both the patient and our employees during these treatments. So I can't say enough about them. They're our frontline are true heroes. And then to make this happen, of course, it really takes a village. So that includes our staff that work overtime and numerous hours in our distribution centers to make this happen, and in our pharmacies as well. And then, of course, all our administration staff back at the office that help to coordinate securing PPE, making sure the shipments were, and of course, all with tremendous protocols and extra steps that was required, and all the screening that we did of patients to ensure that before they came to the clinics, that they had been screened properly to protect both them and our staff.
Right. So, as we hope to get over COVID, what are the medium to longer term plans for Innomar over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, as we start, looking at the other side of this, of course, I think when we think about COVID, I think I think we're still going to be involved in that as the emergence of booster shots and things like that emerge. So I think that's going to be a critical role that we will continue to play. But when we look at our 3 to 5 year outlook, we will continue to serve patients and providers and help make these complex medications available. When you look at pipelines, products like cell and gene therapy, which are only even more complex, will and require even more special handling, are going to require companies like Innomar that are very specialized to help patients navigate both the reimbursement but also the distribution of these. And also, I think what's going to be very exciting for us is on the from an international perspective. We've shown that through COVID, that Innomar worked very closely with our sister company, World Courier. So we didn't just help Canadians. We actually were involved in making vaccines available in many countries. And also, for example, we shipped a product out to over 94 countries around the world, and to different embassies, Canadian embassies as well, to make sure that Canadians, wherever they were in the world, we were getting to them. And then World Courier played a very critical role as well. So when we look to the future, it's exciting because I think we can take the Innomar integrated model to different parts of the world, and with the recent acquisition of Alliance Healthcare by AmerisourceBergen, when you think about the power of working together with World Courier and Alliance and Innomar, I think we will be able to come up with new models to serve patients around the world and improve access, so that patients in different countries have access to these very complex and specialty products.
Excellent. Well, Guy, before we finish up today, is there anything else that you might like to add?
Again, I think just in closing, I'd like to say that as we look to the future, I think it's extremely bright with amazing research and development that's taken place by the pharmaceutical and biotech industry, and that it's going to be very important to continue to have services that go along with these products to support patient access, and that Innomar and AmerisourceBergen are going to continue to innovate, to find new ways to improve and create efficiencies in both the supply chain, but also on the service side, and particularly around the digitization of a lot of services that are just going to make us a much more connected healthcare system, and will again make these products accessible more quickly to patients, and help help serve and make these critical products accessible and around the globe.
Excellent. Well, Guy, thanks very much for your time today.
It's been a pleasure, Jesse.
Cheers.
This has been a production of the Canadian Business Quarterly, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Canadian Business Quarterly, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.